Hi, welcome to another video. March is done. Can't believe we're on to month number 4. Since March is pretty much done, we have like 3 days until the end of March. I'm going to do a March wrap-up. I'm going to tell you what books I read, my opinions on them, how much I rated them, and that's a lot because I read like 13 to 14 books this month. Yeah, unemployment, that's the name. First off, let's start with The West Winds by Alexandria Warwick. This is the second book of the Four Wings series, and I read the first one in February and then I bought the second one and I gave it 4 stars. Let me tell you, I did enjoy the first book more. Maybe it was because I already have this villain concept, like this villainy image of the main character. His name is Zephyrus. Yes, Zephyrus. He's kind of like the villain in the first book, so going into this book, the second one, which is focused on him, I was like, but he's a bad guy, you know? I couldn't see past his villainy arc from the first book. However, it was really entertaining, actually a fun story, so I did enjoy it a lot. It's basically like Zephyrus is a god that was expelled from the city of gods, him and his 4 brothers, and he's the West Wind. And there's this girl, she's an acolyte, I think that's the name, I might be wrong, but that's just like pretty much people who like devote themselves to religion and to God, and yeah, she's that. Until one day she finds him hurt and she decides to help him. So she takes him back to her room, tries to take care of him, and that's how they meet. This is not spoiler, by the way. This is all in the synopsis of the book. I love the world building of this series, like the magical aspects of it. Also, both main characters are really charismatic, as the ones from the first book were. Then I read In Her Own League by Liz Tomford, and I read this on Kindle, but this was an easy 5 stars for me. I love the Windy City series, as you can see, I have it here. I love the Windy City series, and I couldn't fucking believe that after Rewind It Back it would be over. But then I saw something about this book and I was kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe I can read one more book about these characters. And so I read In Her Own League. Believe me when I say these books by this author are like my comfort books. The Found Family, I love all the fucking characters, which is unbelievable because there are so many, but I love them all. The way they interact and they live with each other. So having another book so wholesome, by the way, and where you can see all the other characters from the other books, it was so heart-melting. Then I read Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. It's the 4th book in the Vancouver Storm series. I had read the first 3 books last year, kind of like in January, February last year, 2025, but the 4th one wasn't released yet, and I completely forgot about them until this year. Another 5 stars. This is a hockey romance and it was really addicting. One of the things that I really liked was that, you know, there's like the climax, like the big conflict moments in books and in a story. In this book and the next one in the series, I'm gonna talk about it after this one, it was so natural. It wasn't like a big deal. It felt really natural and, you know, go with the flow, and like pretty much like real life, I think, at least in most cases, whatever. But it felt really natural because like there was a conflict and they tried to solve it as best as they could, and they communicated, they did it together, and that felt really refreshing. With Gloves Off, I read The Wild Card, also by Stephanie Archer, book 5. I gave it 4 stars, but 1 star is extra because I love the characters of this series very much, but the story in itself was a 3 stars. I also love the flow and the lack of the big conflicts moment. For a book to be 5 stars, to me, it has to consume me. and my every thought and my every minute of my everyday. You know, I have to be stuck to that book with such force, but still it was really entertaining. Then I read Blood and Steel and I gave it 2.5 stars. I hated this. I did not enjoy this at all. I was so disappointed because for so long I've been seeing people on TikTok, on social media, talking about this book and talking so highly of this book that I was excited, but then I read it and I was like, this sucks. It was really fucking boring in my opinion, and so boring that I don't remember half the fucking book. After that one we have These Infinite Threads by Tahereh Mafi, book 2 of the This Woven Kingdom series. I don't know if that's the name of it, but I gave it 4 stars. What happened was, I find this series kind of confusing, like a little bit, especially in the second book. There were different POVs and it's written in third person. I would have to understand which POV was I on. It was kind of hard and sometimes it would take me a while, but I feel like that's on me. Okay, that's my fault. It was confusing to me. The first book was kind of like meh, but now this one I can say that it did improve. The plot thickens and it improved. Next up we have The Ever King by L.J. Andrews, and this is the first book of the Everseas trilogy. Oh my god, Siri god. I gave it 5 stars. After the previous books, this one absolutely consumed me. It was the perfect enemies to lovers that I was needing at the moment. And also I really loved the concept of magical sirens and pirates. I feel like I've never read that. Yeah, I haven't stumbled in piratey kind of books, and this was really refreshing. It was written at the perfect pace, the perfect enemies to lovers. I loved the fact that they briefly knew each other when they were kids. It added so much to the enemies to lovers. That was really good. Definitely was a 5 stars for me, and I want to read the next ones. Next up, Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the second book after One Dark Window. I looked up because my book is there. I enjoyed the first book more. I liked the multiple POVs, but I still prefer the first book. I don't know, it wasn't as captivating to me to have like the nightmare getting in control of her, but I still love the world building and the fantastic aspect. After this one I kind of hit pause in romantasy and fantasy, and I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I don't know, this wasn't even in my TBR. It was a spontaneous read. I read it on Kindle and it was a 4 stars. I really liked it. The only thing for me that didn't give this book a 5 stars, it felt kind of weird. Why would you go to a radio station looking for love, like in as if it's like a dating app, you know? Why would you as a grown adult entertain a radio station with your love life? No one in their perfect minds or like sanity would do that, or maybe I just don't know those people. But it was really entertaining and I liked it a lot. The next book in this series, which is And Now Back to You. I read it just back to back, but this one I give it a 3 stars. I wanted to read this book because I saw a booktuber talking about it and saying it was a 5 stars, and I was like, ooh, this sounds fun. But actually I preferred the first book because the second one, I know it's like enemies to lovers, forced proximity and whatnot, but like, I don't know, just both of the main characters pissed me off a little bit. I felt like that made the plot and the story in itself kind of like dull. Not boring per se, but I didn't have like that pull to make me want to read, you know? So yeah, we are finishing, by the way. We only have 4 books left. Next we have A Photo Finish, which is book 2 of the Gold Rush Ranch by Elsie Silver. Easy 5 stars. Yep, you heard me say it. The first book which is Off to the Races, I think. It sucked. It was so fucking boring. I couldn't stand it. But this one was genuinely so good. It just made me want to read more and more, and I got so sad when I finished the book because I wanted to read more of them. This book follows Violet and Cole. Cole is a former soldier, he's a veteran, and Violet just works at the ranch. She doesn't like him. No. She doesn't like him, but he likes her because they met online anonymously years before, or like 2 years before, a while before, and they kind of became friends until she ghosted him. He is in love with her and she hates him. And we love that, because the man should always be more in love with his girl. I wasn't expecting it. It was totally a surprise for me. So after that, I went for another romance, because apparently I'm in my romance era. I read Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, and this one, you can see my vlog that actually is coming out today, the day I'm filming. It's Saturday. You can see, I'm gonna put in the cards, the vlog where I read these books. Say You Swear was in my physical TBR for like 2 years, and I was kind of like avoiding it. I had tried to read a while back, but I wasn't feeling it, so I think it was just like the wrong time for me. But now I did try again, and I pushed through. It wasn't bad, okay? I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't bad. In general, there was so much happening that I was actually entertained. So many things happening at the same time that I was drawn to the book. Basically follows this girl and her friend group. It's the summer before college, and she has a crush on one of those childhood friends. She tries her luck. Yes, she tries her luck with him, gets rejected. The whole book revolves around if she actually is over her first love. I gave it 3 stars for some reasons, which is, first off, I felt like I was reading like a teenager's diary, and I know I'm not much older. Okay, I know I'm 22, turning 23 this year. I know I'm not much older, but the way they spoke and like the way it's written, I know the author is an adult, but she did a great job. The plot, I didn't like the love triangle, but I understand that it kind of was needed for the whole plot. I was more mad about the climax of the whole thing, because it felt like a fucking fanfic, let me tell you. But you know, I know there's people who like that, and I support it. In the bigger picture, okay, it was a good book. One of the last books was Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, and it's book number 2 of the Rose Hill series. One I had in my TBR for a year, and it surprised me because I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It's kind of like forced proximity, also single parents. The book is so wholesome. I didn't love the first book in the Rose Hill series, but this one, Wild Eyes, it's so fucking wholesome. I don't usually like the single parent trope, but this one was done perfectly. I'm gonna be honest, I was in love with those kids too. I was in love with their dad too. We're gonna finish this up with a reread. One of my favorite books ever, like my major comfort book, Shatter Me by Taheri Mafi. I decided to reread this because I was, you know, I was super needy that day. I needed some love. Then I remembered, why would I need love when I can have Aaron Warner? Obviously, a 5 stars to me. And I love that I reread this, because first time I read this in 2022, so like almost 4 years ago, I hated Warner. He's the villain. So reading it now made my heart so warm, heart melting to see Aaron Warner as the villain, but knowing he's not, and knowing the sweetheart and the precious man he is. I'll be forever in love with that man. My boyfriend already knows that he's always gonna be competing with Aaron Warner. Angel with golden hair and green eyes. He deserves the world. And I love him so much, and I'm so happy I reread this, because now I have a new perspective on the first book. But yeah, this was the March wrap up. I don't know if I'm going to make a video on my April TBR. Let me know if you want one, if anyone sees this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.